Daf Yomi, Tractate Zevachim, page 80. Daf Pei. And with Aleph, top of the page, the words Hanitonin b'matana achas, Shinisahu b'nitonin b'matana achas, Yintanu b'matana achas, Behem matamar b'matam arba, Yinatnu b'matan arba. In a case of the blood of an offering that is to be placed on the altar, with one placement that was mixed with the blood of another offering that is to be placed on the altar with one placement. For example, the blood of a firstborn offering with the blood of another firstborn offering, or the blood of an animal tithe offering, the blood shall be placed with one placement. In a case of the blood of an offering that is to be placed on the altar with four placements that was mixed with the blood of another offering that is to be placed on the altar with four placements. For example, the blood of a sin offering with that of another sin offering, or the blood of a burnt offering with that of a peace offering, the blood shall be placed with four placements. If the blood of an offering that is to be placed on the altar with four placements was mixed with the blood of an offering that is to be placed on the altar with one placement, Rabbi Eliezer says the blood shall be placed with four placements. Rabbi Yehoshua says the blood shall be placed with one placement, as the priest fulfills the requirement with one placement after the fact. Amar lo Rabbi Eliezer, Harei hu oiver al bal tigra, Amar le Rabbi Yehoshua, Harei hu oiver al bal toisiv. Rabbi Eliezer said to Rabbi Yehoshua, according to your opinion, the priest violates the prohibition of do not diminish. As it is written, all these matters that I command you, that you shall observe to do, you shall not add thereto, nor diminish from it. Deuteronomy 13:1. One may not diminish the number of required placements from 4 to 1. Rabbi Yehoshua said to Rabbi Eliezer, according to your opinion, the priest violates the prohibition of do not add, derived from the same verse. One may not add to the required placement in place 4. Amar lo Rabbi Eliezer, lo nemar lo tosif, ela kishehu be'atzmo. So Rabbi Eliezer answered Rabbi Yehoshua. He's charging him with something. He says, I gotta explain it to you. The prohibition of do not add is stated only in a case where the blood is by itself, not when it is part of the mixture. So I guess if it's a mixture, you're allowed to add. And Rabbi Yehoshua said to Rabbi Eliezer, likewise, the prohibition of do not diminish is stated only in a case where the blood is by itself. And Rabbi Yehoshua also said, when you place four placements, you transgress the prohibition of do not add, and you performed a direct action. When you did not place four placements, but only one, although you transgressed the prohibition of do not diminish, you did not perform a direct action. An active transgression is more severe than a passive one. Okay? Gemara, the Talmud, Amar Rabbi Elazar. Lo yichshir Rabbi Eliezer. The Mishnah teaches that according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, a cup containing the blood of blemished animals became intermingled with cups holding the blood of fit offerings. And the blood in one of the cups was sacrificed. All the remaining cups were fit. Rabbi Elazar says Rabbi Eliezer permitted the rest of the cups only if they were sacrificed 2 by 2, as at least one of them is certainly permitted. But He did not permit them to be sacrificed one by one, as he may be found to have presented the blood of the prohibited cup by itself. Rav Dini raises an objection for the Mishnah, and the rabbis say that even if the blood in all the cups was sacrificed except for the blood of one of them, the blood shall be poured into the temple courtyard drain. This indicates that even in this case, where only one cup remains, Rabbi Eliezer disagrees with the rabbis and permits the blood in the cup to be presented. Rabbi Yaakov says, Rabbi Yirmi, I will explain it to you. What does the Mishnah mean when it states except for the blood in one of them? It means except for one pair, meaning 2 cups. As Rabbi Eliezer did not permit the presentation of the cups one by one, the dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis was also stated above with regard to a mixture of limbs from fit and unfit offerings. The Gemara notes, and it is necessary for the Mishnah to teach this dispute with regard to both cases as if it were stated only. With regard to that case of the limbs, one would have said that it is in that case alone that Rabbi Eliezer says that the rest of the limbs were sacrificed, because the offering of atonement, meaning the presenting of the blood, has already been performed, as the limbs are sacrificed after the blood has been presented. But in this case, of the blood in the cups, say that Rabbi Eliezer concedes to the rabbis that the rest of the blood is unfit to be presented. And conversely, if the dispute were stated only with regard to this case of the cups, one would have said that it is in this case alone that the rabbis say that the blood in the rest of the cups is unfit, but in that case of the limbs, say the rabbis concede Rabbi Eliezer that the rest of the limbs are fit to be sacrificed, as the blood has already been presented. Therefore, it is necessary for the Mishnah to state that the dispute applies in both cases. Tanan Hasam, die, 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 die. Tanazim Zevachim, Shenachlo, Sakamayim, Kol Shuhur Yazona, Yadishte Hazois, Yachayom Paislin. The Gemara continues the discussion of the dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and the rabbis. We learned in the Mishnah here in Paranan 1, with regard to a flask containing water of purification into which any amount of regular water fell. Rabbi Eliezer says the priest should sprinkle 2 sprinklings on the ritually impure person, as in this manner he ensures that he will be sprinkled with some of the water of purification, but the rabbis disqualify the mixture of purification. The Gemara clarifies, granted, one can understand why the rabbis disqualify the mixture, as they hold 3 opinions. They hold that there is mixing, meaning when 2 substances are mixed together, each drop is assumed to contain a bit of each of them. And they hold that an active sprinkling of the water purification requires a minimum measure of water purification, and in this case, each sprinkling contains some of the regular water, and they hold that it is of no help to sprinkle the water twice, as one cannot combine sprinklings, meaning 2 acts of sprinkling the water of purification do not combine to render one pure. Therefore, the person is not purified. Amar Rabbi Eliezer, my kasaba, ikasaba, ein vila. Kimazesh te hazois mai have dilma tarvayu mia kabazi ela kasavar yesh bila I kasavar ein hazois tzrichashir lama lish te hazois ela kasavar hazois tzrichashir vi kasavar ein starfen hazois kimazesh te hazois mai have ina mi starfen hazois mi ein mardim melei. But what does Rabbi Eliezer hold? If he holds that there is no mixing, meaning when two substances are mixed together, each drop is not assumed to contain a bit of each of them, then even if one sprinkles two sprinklings, what of it? Perhaps on both occasions he sprinkles regular water. Rather, one must say that Rabbi Eliezer holds that there is mixing. If he holds that the act of sprinkling does not require a minimum measure, why do I need two sprinklings? One act of sprinkling would be enough. Rather, you must say that Rabbi Eliezer holds that the act of sprinkling requires a minimum measure. And if Rabbi Eliezer holds that one cannot combine sprinklings, and even if one sprinkles two sprinklings, what of it? And alternatively, if he holds that one combines sprinklings, who says the two sprinklings will amount to the minimum measure? Perhaps most of the water he sprinkled was regular water. Rish Lakish says, actually Rabbi Eliezer holds that there is mixing and sprinkling requires a minimum measure. And here we are dealing with a case where two types of water are mixed together in a ratio of 1-to-1, and therefore by performing two sprinklings, the priest ensures that he has sprinkled the minimum measure of one sprinkling of water purification. Rava Amar or in brackets Rava says actually Rabbi Eliezer maintains that there is mixing and sprinkling does not require a minimum measure. Consequently, it should suffice for the priest to perform one sprinkling, and the requirement to sprinkle twice is a penalty that the sages imposed, so that one who mixes regular water with the water purification would not benefit from this act by diluting the valuable water purification. Rashi states a different explanation. Rabbi Eliezer holds that there is no mixing, and therefore if the priest sprinkles only once, there is a concern that he might not have sprinkled any water purification at all, and therefore he sprinkles two sprinklings. The Gemara raises an objection from Braita against Rish Lakish's opinion that Rabbi Eliezer holds that sprinkling requires a minimum measure. He says, according to the statement of Rabbi Eliezer, that if the priest performs two sprinklings, the purification ritual is valid. The sprinkling of any amount renders the impure person ritually pure, as sprinkling does not require a minimum measure, and even a sprinkling that contains half fit water and half unfit water renders the individual ritually pure. To be continued with 80b after the break.